What is C programming? In this new lesson, we'll talk about a C program, the basic structure of a C program, and what is a C program is made from. C is structured programming. It means that the C program is composed of small parts we call function, and you will hear the word function a lot while you are programming in C. The first function to be executed, which is the entry point of the program, is called main, which is the main function. Some functions may be a standalone file for organizing, and these are called library. Now, the basic structure of a C program is basically the main function. Now, this main function can be or can include one or two functions. As you can see, function 1 and function 2. Now, the C program that has more than one function, these functions can be composed and stored inside a library. And we will create our own libraries at the end of this course. What I need you to understand at this point is that your C program will have a function called the main function. This is the first function to be executed in our program. Now, this might be vague for some people, but we will see it in action in the next lesson. Now, library is basically a collection of functions that do a specific thing. Like you can have a library that print things on your display. You can have another library that has functions that help you read data from the user. And this can go on and on. So a function is a piece of code that does a specific thing. The main function is the first function to be executed in our program by the compiler. The library is a collection of functions that does a specific thing and that you can easily use inside your code. Now, let's take a quick look at a simple C code. As you can see, this is the first C code that you will see in our course. The first thing up here is called a multi-line comment. Now, this multi-line comment, it means that this is not a code. This is something you usually write for yourself, like to remember what is this code is all about. Now, to write a multi-line comment, you need to make sure that you have the backslash and asterisk. Now, in this area, as you can see, we have a backslash and asterisk, and you must end it with an asterisk and backslash. This is the beginning and the end of a multi-line comment. Now, anything written between these two signs is called a comment. So this is not a code and won't be executed as a code. This is only for you to see. Now, the second thing here is the include command. Now, when you want to include any file, any library, or anything inside your C program, you must use #include. This is called #include. Now, usually it is followed with these signs and the name of the thing that we want to include. Here we are including a file called stdio.h. And we don't want you to understand at this point what's the meaning of this file. All what you need to do is that when you want to include a library or a file, you must use the #include, #include, and the name of the file between these two signs. We also have something called a single line comment. Now, we already mentioned the multi-line comment up here in this area. But what if you want to make only one line comment, not multiple line or multi-line comment? You can easily add two backslashes here. And these two slashes will make this line a one-line comment. So anything that you write in this line will be considered as a comment and it won't be executed. Now, we already mentioned that your program must have a main function. The main function is basically the function that will be executed first in our program. As you can see, this is the function name. Now, void and void are two words that have a meaning, but we will not explain them at this point. You just need to know that you must add two parentheses, add the word void between them, and leave a space here and add the word void before the name of the function. Now, this is a curly brace. This is the opening and the closing of the curly brace. Here we added another multi-line comment called the main function and pass string to it. Now this is the main function. And inside here, we are writing our very first C code. This is a printf, and from its name, it's basically for printing text on screen. And as you can see here, we are printing this text, hello C world. Now you must add two parentheses and two, as you can see here, quotation marks. Now these two quotation marks will include the text that we want to print in here. Again, this is how to write your very first C code. Now, anything that you write inside the printf two quotation marks will be printed on screen. And to make things more clear, let's write this code and try to execute it as our very first C code. Now, we already mentioned that we will be using a website called OnlineGDB for some of our exercises. Since this is the first exercise, we will use it, but you are free to use the Notepad++ as well. Now, we already mentioned that in order to write a multi-line comment, you need to add these two signs and close them with these two signs. Now, let's write. This is our first C program. Testing and printing. Now, these two lines are basically a comment. It's a multi-line comment. Now, let's add a single line comment. This is a single line comment. Great. Now, let's start by including the library. So we'll include the stdio or standard input output library to allow us to print on screen. So write include and the larger and less than sign and add the library name. That's it. Now, this means that we are asking the compiler to include the functions inside this file inside our C program. Now, let's write our main function. Usually, the best way to write things is by writing the syntax, then writing the code inside it. I like to write the syntax in one line, as you can see, void, leave a space, then write main, which is the name of the function, then add two parentheses, this one and this one, add the word void between them, and add two curly braces. Once you have this, simply put your mouse here, press enter, put your mouse between the two curly braces and press enter. This means that you are good to go. Now, let's print something. What we need to print here is this is our first C code. Now, you need to choose the language from the top right corner, select C, and hit the Run button. As you can see, this is our console window. This is our first C code, and it's working properly. Now, if you did reach this point and you managed to write this, and you saw this output, means that everything went well for you. Now, you can copy the whole code, go to the Notepad++ here, create a new file, and paste your code. Make sure to choose the C language as your default language, and save your file. Leave it as new. Now, go to the file. If you already followed our installation video, in the download and install software section, you should be able to use Notepad++ for compiling your code. So click CMD, and once you see this window, you need to write GCC. After that, you need to write the name of the file, new3.c. Now this means that we are asking the compiler to compile our C code, which is the first step in, let's say, playing or making sure that our code doesn't have any errors. Now, if you compile the code and you didn't see anything, it means that everything went well. Now, your documents folder will have a new file called a.exe, which is basically the file that has the output of this C code. Press enter, and you will see the very same code. This is our first C code. Now let's repeat these steps. Write GCC, which is the compiler, the file name, then a.exe, and you should see the output. If you saw the output, means that everything went well for you. Now if you compare this output with the output from before, you can see that they are identical. The same sentence here is written in our CMD or command line window. That's it. This is the end of our first lesson. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, I'm here to help. This is Ashraf from Educational Engineering Team.